Can you please introduce yourself?
I'm Anna, and I'm a painter in New York.
Yeah, that's perfect.
Okay.
Because I'll do like the real intro, but I just like it's fun to ask everyone. Also, it gives like a familiarity to like how I start the podcast.
Okay. I feel like the first like couple like lines is like the hardest, most awkward.
Totally. And then you get into the flow.
Yeah.
Okay, so your parents, which I just confirmed,
Yeah.
are two lawyers
Mhm.
and your mom is a judge.
Yeah.
So, aka you grew up far from any artistic upbringing, or it seems like?
Yeah.
Would you say that's true?
Yeah, that's true.
So when did you start painting?
I went to, when did I start painting? I went to a summer camp once when I was like maybe 13 or 14. And they had an art section, and you could do like, it was like art or math, or like, so obviously I chose art. And
So you were
can you hear me?
Yeah.
Like, am I talking too quietly?
I don't know, maybe you could talk a little louder. Wait, I feel like that's kind of a late bloomer, no? To get into art?
Well, I mean, I like painted as like a baby, you know how like kids just like draw and stuff.
Yeah.
But I had a teacher who told me that I was really good at it, and like I don't think I had ever heard that before about anything because I'm so bad at everything. And I was like, well, fuck, I'm just gonna devote my life to it. But then like I was like lazy and like didn't touch it for a while. But like I always in the back of my head like thought maybe this is something.
Yeah, when was the switch to thinking like, okay, I could actually do this? Like, I want to be an artist.
I think I always kind of from then on knew I wanted to do something creative, but I thought like maybe I'll do advertising or something. Like I didn't know anybody who made a career out of being like a painter. Like that just seemed like the most radical thing, especially coming from Calgary where everyone goes into like, I don't know, like tech or law or like engineering. So I went to RISD, and it was kind of like while I was at RISD that I fell in love with painting.
Can you talk me through just your experience at RISD?
Yeah, it was really different from anything I ever knew growing up in Alberta. Like, I remember calling my mom once and being like, someone's wearing a bird on their head. Like, I don't know what to do, which now it's just like nothing to me. But at the time, I was like, I'm not in fucking Kansas anymore. Like, this is a big change. But it was really fun.
Okay, I'm really interested because I feel like I didn't go to a super specialized school. Like going to art school, you know, to know that you're on a campus with everyone who's kind of working on similar things. What was that experience like?
I just had like a really bad attitude the whole time. I was like, you guys are all fucking weird. I mean, I loved everyone. Like, I had really great friends, but like, I was just like, I think it was like maybe like culture shock or something. But
Are you in the studio? Like, do you have studio time? Like, how does it work? You're taking like different types of painting classes?
kind of. I had like my senior years when I got a studio and like actually painted, like the years building up to it. And I think that's why I was going so crazy is they were like, you can't paint, like you need to learn how to think and like learn, I don't know.
Like, do you take art history there too?
Yeah, art history and that sort of stuff, which was like now looking back, I'm like, that was great. They needed to do that.
Yeah. I'm thankful for the experience.
Yeah.
Okay, and so when you leave RISD, when did China happen?
I left RISD. I graduated in 2017 in June, and I moved to New York for the summer. And I worked in event planning at Lincoln Center. And it was like a desk job. I was like an assistant to this really great guy. But I kind of just sucked at the job. Like I would like call in sick every morning. Just like I didn't know how to use the phone, and then I was like too far into the job when I was like I had to like transfer calls, and I just like 2 months into the job, someone was like, "Do you not know how to transfer calls?" Like so anyways, so I sucked. So I ended up leaving in the fall, and somebody had told me about this. It's like a program at a school in Hangzhou, and I didn't really know what I wanted to do with my life. And I thought like it would be a good place just to like go and kill time. And like, when else can I go there and do that? Like, I had no responsibilities and like nothing holding me to New York. So
How long did you go for?
under a year. It was probably like 7 or 8 months.
What was your biggest takeaway?
It was so nice to be alone. Like, I had just gone from like having people all around all the time, which was amazing because they were like my roommates and best friends. But then, like, suddenly, like, I was all on my own and like my phone didn't really work. And I don't think I could have, I can't remember, but I don't think I could have social media. Or like if I did, I had to like get a VPN or something. Like, it was just, I felt like I was floating around in space in like the best way. Like, it was so free. And I wasn't scared of anything at the time. Like, now I'm scared of everything, but like I would just like get on a bus and like go to some like
And it was a painting program?
kind of, the program was pretty random. All these schools are gonna like sue me. The program was like not really a thing. Like, it was mostly like Mandarin classes.
Wait, excuse me? You speak
And
Chinese?
no, that's why I had to leave because I'm so fucking stupid. Like, I couldn't get it. And that's why I was alone. Like, I couldn't talk. I mean,
Quick question. Did you hook up with anyone in your program there? Well, is it
oh my
all
God.
study abroad people?
There were like 10 of us
Only
in
10
like a study
people?
abroad program.
Okay.
And then the school was like massive, but it was like really separate for some reason. And I didn't hook up with anyone from the program, but I ran into this person that I knew from, I actually can't remember if we hooked up. I think we hooked up.
You ran into someone
Somebody I
in
knew
Hangzhou,
from
China?
from
Excuse me?
like from Calgary.
That's insane. What
Yeah.
are the odds of that?
I know.
That's kind of serendipitous.
It was actually really fun, and I had the biggest crush on him in high school.
Do you feel like the solo time though allowed you like
Totally.
to kind of carve out what you wanted to focus on more?
Yeah, I watched a lot of YouTube videos actually, and I was like just trying to like learn how to paint, and like the paintings I made then were so bad. And I was also applying to grad school, and now when I like look at the portfolio, it's mortifying.
Is there anyone in your life, like any significant figure that encouraged you to pursue a career in art?
Honestly, like that teacher when I was 13 was like, that just gave me so much confidence.
So I wrote on Instagram today being like, you're coming into the studio to do the podcast. So I asked people if they had any specific questions, and I thought that they had a couple interesting questions about our relationship. And I thought we could tell the people what they wanted to hear and how we met, if you want to, from your point of view, how we met, and then I can say how we met.
Okay, so how did we meet? I think you were like, are you are you at Basel? Because you were there with, yeah.
Okay, so I was at the time I was friends with someone who worked in an old gallery that you were represented by back in the day. And he told me, he was like, you need to, because that's how I first came across you. He was like, you need to follow Anna. One, I think you guys would love each other and like similar personalities, but also I think she would really want to paint you. So then I followed you, and then remember you told me,
and then
at the same time or like the same day, or
it was the same day that you had sent me that message. Somebody was in Miami, one of my friends, and they were like, you need to meet this girl because you're going to want to paint her. And then I think I sent you a message. In response to that, I was like, I'm not, but this is really random. I would love to paint you when you're back in New York.
And that's how we met. And then
I met you and loved you.
We got lunch.
Yeah.
And then, I don't know, how did we go? Like, it hasn't been that long. Anna and I text all day, every day. Like,
yeah.
We actually
It's like I have a limit on my screen time, and it's like all spent in messages.
It's like all day Instagram, all day texting. I just feel like we've gotten so close so fast. Do you feel like our relationship has developed, like, I guess, so like from artist, muse type of thing to real friends?
No.
No, I think you're a dumb bitch.
No, I'm just using you for the content. Yeah, obviously. I mean, I feel like right away
Well, why
I
did you
felt like
choose me as a subject?
ooh, so many reasons. I actually just spoke to Ezra about this.
I know,
But
right?
I think I mean, first, right off the bat, I was interested in you because of your like you have like really soft round features and like obviously really beautiful and like I thought that you would have good shadows and good curves for painting that would be really fun. And then and I was working on a show or starting to work on a show, that one that you were in of it was a bunch of women. And then I met you and I just thought you were so sweet and fun. Um So it's like you're fun to be in the studio with. I don't paint people that I don't like because it's like such a time consuming process. So
Well, like
like
you're painting my boobs right now.
I am painting your boobs right now
And
on a
like
big boob day, just for the record.
but like how many hours does it take you to finish start to finish?
The one of the two of you, the one from the show that's on the cover of the quarterly, that was like maybe 5 or 6 weeks, maybe a little longer of
And
like
you're
really
spending like
intense work.
hours in the studio all
All day,
day.
yeah.
How do you have the attention?
I love it so much. I go crazy if I'm not doing it. It's
Really?
like, it's just the best thing ever.
Is it therapeutic for you?
It's like therapeutic, but there's also like push and pull. Like, it's like I'm always like arguing with the canvas, or like, it's like it's like an engaging conversation without words.
And then it can constantly shift too, right? Like if you do something that you don't like, you can cover it.
Yeah, I mean, I usually just toss it now. I used to cover it, and it just like, if I feel like sometimes canvases are just really cursed or like haunted,
Really?
and I just throw them out if they have bad energy.
And so what is a day in your life like right now, like in the studio? Walk me
Right
through your
now,
process.
okay, well, right now I'm working on your boobs. So and then I usually do like a still life and a figurative painting at the same time, and I like kind of go back and forth. And so yeah, so I just wake up and have a tea and then just like sit down and get to work until dinner. And I like listen to music and stuff and like podcasts and
Someone asked
audiobooks
that
and
actually,
oh
that
really?
specific question. They were like, "Do you listen to music when you're in the studio? Like, what's a paint the picture for me of you in there?" And I know you listen to podcasts and stuff.
Yeah, I listen to your podcast.
Does it feel like a very personal experience? You're in there all day by yourself?
Definitely. I mean, sometimes like yeah, sometimes I have someone else, like if I have a sitter or something, but I like to do it alone, especially with still lifes. But I just try to make it as fun and comfortable as possible. I had this like epiphany during the pandemic where I was like making this work and it was just really tedious and depressing. And I think I was like taking myself a little bit too seriously. And so, like, I just decided that I really want, like, I'm doing this sort of stupid, selfish, like, pointless thing, like, just like making paintings alone mostly. And
Okay, one, it's not stupid and it's not selfish.
but it's like I'm not like
I'm
like advancing the
envious.
greater good or anything. Like it's
I think art is. I disagree. I think a
really.
lot of people would disagree.
Oh well,
I feel like
thanks for
art
saying
is
that.
like what inspires people. Like think about film and like thinking about going to a great museum and seeing like the art on the walls. Like to
Yeah.
me that does a lot more than I don't know, some other like the average person's shit.
Aw,
I'm serious.
thank you.
And also as someone who's not particularly artistic,
Hmm.
I'm jealous and envious. Like I wish I had a way to like I don't know, put my thoughts into the world in a way that can like be received from other people.
But you totally do. I
Yeah,
mean,
but not in an
this.
artistic way, if that makes sense. Like I've always been like, oh, because my mom was very artistic and my sister is too, and I don't have that.
What was your mom's thing?
She painted,
Really?
she sculpted,
Oh my
she
god.
drew. Like, we have so much art at the house that was done by her. That was like what she enjoyed doing. She would go to classes.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, but me, I'm like, my mom would put me in art classes when I was a kid, and it just was not my thing.
I don't think you're giving yourself enough credit.
Who would you say are your main inspirations behind your work?
Like other artists or muses or everything.
Yeah, everything. Maybe other artists?
So other artists, I mean, I look at a lot of like historical art, like Franz Hals, Judith Leister.
Okay, tell me though some of your favorite artists.
Okay, so Clara Peters was a really cool, very dead Dutch still life painter who was a woman, like when it wasn't really that okay to be like a woman figurative painter. She did portraits too, but her still lifes were really the best. Franz Hals, I feel like you would know if you saw them. He does like really kind of goofy paintings of people at like pubs. And he was like a Dutch golden age painter. And then more contemporary, I have a lot of friends who are really great artists. I know you know a lot of them. Trying to think, like Julie Curtis, I think is a great painter and like really inspiring. And she also does cool sculptural work.
How do you maintain flow with your work? Not feeling like burned out. Well, especially if you're working on a piece for five weeks.
Yeah.
Straight.
No, I don't maintain flow. It's like very chaotic usually. And I say it's like so fun and like such a great process, but I also like rip my hair out and cry and like get in balls and like sit in the corner of a room. It's usually just like I kind of force myself to do it until I like it again. You know, like if I'm like in a funk or out of my groove, then like I just like put on a good podcast and I just like sit and like wash my brushes or something, like just like keep my toes in the water. And then like usually it comes back to me.
Do you feel like you are your worst critic?
Um,
You're like, no, I actually have a lot of critics, Eileen.
No, I would love to be my worst critic, but I definitely have a lot of people really hate me.
Okay, we'll get to that in a little bit. Can you give me a little tea that, well, I'm gonna say it and then you can confirm it.
Okay.
That a lot of successful famous artists don't paint their own work.
So
you do. I know.
I do.
Okay, that's sorry. That's not about
No. I'm just I don't want to like make any enemies.
You
But
don't
I
have to name
do.
anyone, but
No, I'm
there-
naming names.
Okay,
No,
okay.
Obviously, I'm not going to. Definitely, like a lot of people have. There are some like big artists who are more like designers or like just production. Like it's like almost like having like it's like Ralph Lauren or something where they just like have like studios and like Andy Warhol was kind of the one who got that going.
But what about like painters? Like I know you used to assist people
Yeah.
early in your career. And how does that work? Like, are you painting some shit for other people?
So
Is that
yeah,
prevalent in the art world?
it is. I mean, it's common. Like if you, I'm like so. Can I say anal?
Ew.
I was gonna say
You can say anything and I'll take it out.
okay. I'm like so anal about it that like
Oh,
I
you
do
can
like
say
all my
anal. Are you kidding? I talk about getting fucked in the ass.
No,
and
but I don't know
bitches.
if that's like gonna offend
No,
someone.
it's not gonna offend.
Okay. Like I like to do like all my own backgrounds and stuff myself because I'm particular about it. But I know that it's really common. Like if you have an idea for a painting and maybe you need like a giant like black background or like you want like trees or bushes or something in the background or like a sky, like you can just have like a studio assistant paint it.
Is that not, as someone who's not in the art world and not an artist, is that not kind of scammy? Like, what's your take on that?
I love to like have my hands like in it all the way through. But I enjoy it and I think I'm pretty new to this. Like I don't know if in 30 years I'm going to be like fuck, like I don't want to paint another tree. Can someone just do it for me?
But it's
I
like if I'm buying a really expensive piece of art from
Yeah.
someone and I think that they fucking painted it and they didn't, is that not scam?
I think well,
You're paying for the style or you're paying for the name.
you're paying for the name, I think, and yeah, you're paying for the name.
Okay.
But there are things like I just saw a show a couple months ago, and like I know the artist's practice, and like I knew he didn't touch anything in the show, and I was like, this takes the magic out a little bit. Like just because I think I have like such a reverence. Like and also he's like a really successful, awesome, like culture shifting artist. So what the fuck do I know? But for me, like I love to see where someone has like pulled the paint in a certain way, and I know like that's the way they pull paint, and like I love those sort of identifiers that like connect me to this person who was maybe making work like 200 years ago in some studio somewhere else, like
Really cool. Like even when you go to like we went to the Met that one time. It's
yeah.
like you can go sit in front of a piece and be like, "Holy shit, this is painted like 200 or I don't know, 100 years ago."
Yeah.
200 years ago.
It's so cool. Someone just gave me a palette from an artist, like that was used by an artist that I love. And it's the coolest thing because I can like see the bristles from his brushes and like how he
Who's the
picks up
artist?
paint. Okay, so he is like a little bit controversial,
Okay.
but Baltus, he like there was like
I'm
some
so embarrassed. I have never taken an art history
I'm
class.
scared people are gonna come after me because like he got like some shit for like at the Met had a painting of his up that's like a great painting. It's called Tree Streaming, and they like took it down for a bit to like clean it. But
Do you believe in the separation of art and artist?
I don't, but I don't
Really?
believe
I
in
do.
censorship in art. You
Okay,
do?
I do.
Really?
I think my thoughts on it are like if they're alive and they're actively profiting off of it, then
Mhm.
sure, I can see where people would be upset with that. But then at the same time, I'm like, who gets to choose the line?
Well, exactly. And I think like you have to hold, I mean, you don't have to do anything, but like if we're going to hold Baltus to one standard, like he made sort of people paintings that people think maybe were inappropriate with young girls and
But wasn't Gauguin the same?
or Picasso, like
Picasso,
are
like
you just going to like
Michelangelo
wipe
used to
out
like fuck
art
little
history?
boys
Like,
because that was like normal in the Greek
yeah,
time, whatever,
for
Roman.
sure.
I'm gonna fuck it up, but back in the day,
Yeah.
So it's like okay, then you're gonna have to go into a museum and rip everyone off the wall because also what was acceptable at different time periods too.
Totally. And also, like, if you're thinking about Michael Jackson and then, like, The Weeknd, who pulls a lot of, like, inspo.
Influence.
Yeah. So, like, where do you, I don't know. It's a,
And also, aren't a lot of artists like tortured souls? Not excusing their behavior if they're like pedophiles. Sorry, before I get
he's just
absolutely
having a bad day.
if I get absolutely ripped on here. But I don't know. I really believe in separating. I think a movie, for example, or a book could be written by someone who is an awful person and still I could read
Oh,
that
well, yeah,
book
that
and
for sure.
separate the two and be like very inspired by their piece of writing. And it goes to show that not everyone who's a great artist needs to be put on a fucking pedestal that they're an amazing person.
Definitely. No, I definitely believe in, like, you can be a great artist and a shitty person.
Do you feel like I don't know, I'm not going to call it a collaboration, but you painting me has exposed us to new audiences?
Totally. And I've met a lot of people through you. And I would call it a collaboration.
How do you blend colors so well on the canvas?
Oh my
Just like your
God.
actual painting technique.
Okay, this I could talk about forever.
Really?
I love blending color. So I do like really thin washes, and I think I overblend though. So like this is probably not the best advice, but I have two sets of brushes and they're both hog hair, but one is like the old hog hair brushes, and they're like a little bit thicker and like more, I don't know. They look like stray dogs.
Wiry?
Wiry, yeah. And so like I put the paint down with like the softer hug. You have to cut this out because this is so
Why?
fucking boring.
No, it's not. But you're speaking a different language. But go. It's for the listeners.
Okay. Yeah, I use like a soft brush and then I blend with like a really bristly brush. And like I use a lot of medium. And then lately I've been like doing a lot of reductive stuff. So just like wiping things off with my hand or like a paper towel or something or like a makeup brush
Like before it dries.
before it dries.
Obviously, Eileen.
Yeah. No, well, there you can do it after it dries. It's just like another
Okay, really?
layer. Yeah.
Okay, if you could have a studio session
Uh-huh.
with any artist, living or dead,
Okay.
and they could like walk you through their technique or come do a studio visit, who would you choose?
I'm gonna get so much shit for this because like I already do, but John Kern, if you're watching this, please let me come over to your studio. I've been begging everyone for so long and like I've never asked him and maybe he would let me go
I'm
over.
sure he would. Why don't you? Have you met him?
Yeah. But I'm such a fangirl with him, like I freeze up. But
Well, don't people compare your guys' art a lot?
I think I get like the knockoff John Curran a lot.
Okay, and what's your response to that?
I'm just happy to be
You're like,
in
"I'm
the
happy to be-"
sentence.
No, but I think you can be inspired, and I feel like you're pretty open about being inspired by his
Yeah,
work.
I love his work. I mean, I would go in with like a little like, those little like magician flowers that have the little cameras in them. Like I
Yeah.
would just like go in and like film all the brushes and like totally steal all his ideas.
But I think okay,
I'm
so
kind of kidding.
she is kidding. But at what point can you be inspired someone, and when does it veer towards copying, in your opinion?
I mean, I think all of art history is like copying
Yeah,
art that came
nothing
before
is
it.
original.
No, it's just like it's snowballing. And if I put a shark in formaldehyde, like I don't think Damien would be very happy. But like, I can make the same painting, I can make the same sculpture as Damien Hirst, but it's like different coming from me. We bring our own shit to the gallery.
I mean, I think that's why art is so fascinating. As someone also, I always say this, like I get to come to the parties and,
Everyone at the parties loves you.
but like be a part of a world I'm not a part of, where I
Mhm.
have no skin in the game, but I also have no anxiety about like my career is not attached to it.
Yeah.
So I feel like I can come and let loose in a way that like I imagine is probably not as easy for you.
Yeah. I mean, I do it anyway.
I know you do. So, you are a hot topic in the art world. I want to give you the opportunity to respond to some of the criticism that you've received. I mean, you even mentioning earlier saying like
Yeah.
you wish you were your worst critic.
Yeah.
I guess okay, let me start with why do you think you're so polarizing?
I think I probably don't fit the mold of like, I think we're like accepting of female artists and just women in general, like up to a point. Like you have to be kind of, I don't know. It's like weird in the art world because it's like if you're too buttoned up, like you're not in it. But if you're maybe like, I don't know. I think I'm just not quite like in the.
You're young and you're hot
Thank you.
and you're gorgeous. I'm serious. I feel like it's kind of talked about this similarly with Emerada, although totally different
Mhm.
person.
I'm just as hot.
Yeah, you are. You're just as hot. You're
I'm
hotter.
totally fucking kidding.
No, but it's like there's this one specific idea of like what a feminist is supposed to be, or I feel like there is a particular idea of like what an artist should be, and that you reach a level of success if you ever do while you're alive.
Mhm.
It's usually when you're much older, and like yeah, you're young, you're blonde, you're hot, and I feel like people write off your success and your talent
Mm.
because of that.
Yeah, I feel like definitely. And also, like, people are very, I'm like trying to say something without saying something. I don't know. So I think people are really interested in my dating life and my personal life. And that can like overpower the work, and obviously, like, I've made decisions that, like, yeah, people are gonna be interested in
But that's what I
what I'm
love and
doing.
respect about you so much is like at least one, you don't owe an explanation to anyone.
Yeah.
And two, you are so open and honest about that with the people who matter and the people who are close to you.
Yeah.
Like, I've never heard you say, I don't know, even like certain things I've heard in the media with like the Nepo baby
Mm.
controversy. Like, I feel like you do address it head on and you do say, like, this is my situation. And like, yeah, I own it.
Yeah, totally. And also, like, I just would never not do something that I wanted to do because someone told me, like, people aren't going to take you seriously or this will, like, negatively affect your career. Like,
Did
I've
people
always
tell
been
you
like,
that?
oh, totally. Yeah.
Like,
All
people
the
told you,
time.
do not pursue this because it will fuck your career?
Yeah, definitely.
And you were like, this is what I want to do?
I
Because
think
I
I
feel like
was
that's a
just like,
misconception and that clears a lot up for everyone, for
really?
people. Yeah, because I'm sure there's people who do not know you at all and they look on the outside and they're like, oh, this is a transactional relationship
Yeah.
and she's in it for one thing only and la di da di da. But it's like, actually, when you hear the other side of it, it's like, no, people actually told me not to be in this relationship because it's going to take away from me being taken seriously. And I still did it because I do love the person.
Yeah, for sure. And, like, I think I've always liked to, like, I'm not push the boundaries because, like, but I think just, like, someone says I can't do something, like, fucking watch me. Like, I can't have a career as a painter. Like, I'm just gonna fucking do it. And, like, or, like, people are not gonna take me seriously. Like, fuck them. I don't need their respect and they don't owe me respect. Like, I'm just gonna do what I
Yes.
want to do.
But also, you're like, watch me. I mean, you just had a
Watch me.
sold out show. Like, it goes in, like, what's that famous article that's like, her pieces were selling for X amount and now they go for
Oh my
over a
god, I hate
million.
that so much. I mean, I don't hate the art. I hate the it gets so twisted. Like, those were that yeah, I don't know.
But it's like, for someone who's on it, is an outsider looking in who doesn't maybe understand the ins and outs of the art world, you are extremely successful.
Thank you. There was just this piece that came out that was like I actually think it went viral. It was like a bio that said something like it was talking about me and it was something like this girl came out of nowhere and now her paintings are selling for X amount and it's just fucking crazy. But I look at that and I'm like, I studied so fucking hard for this. I worked so fucking hard. I didn't come out of no like I don't know. I think things like that like clickbait and I know you get stuff like this too. It's like I think it's a way
You get reduced.
of discrediting somebody's work.
And I want to say this on the podcast.
Okay.
How did you meet your gallerist?
Oh, I met my gallerist because he was collecting my work.
Thank you. Ding, 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 ding. And
Yeah.
that's what I remember you were having a hard time and I was like, hello, it's not like you met randomly like sliding in the DMs or email
Yeah, I
being
slid
like, I
in the
want to
gallery
take you.
DMs.
Yeah, like, I want to take you on a date. It was like, I genuinely like your work and he bought your work.
I mean, it was very much a professional, like we started interacting because they were gonna do a show. And I think that's maybe why, I don't know, people were like, don't be like, I don't know. I can see it from both ways, but like, I cannot understand why anyone would like ever, like, why wouldn't you just fucking do what you want to do? Like, if someone, like, just,
Well, I just feel like, do you think you would get the same amount of criticism if you were a man?
no. I mean, no one would call me pregnant if I were a man. I would probably, no, you know what? I would probably get the same amount of criticism.
I don't think
But I
so.
think a lot of it is gender. Like, this whole pregnancy thing was like,
Yeah, I didn't even know about that.
yeah.
But I disagree. I think you're young, you're hot. I think you make people nervous. I think you make people jealous.
Ooh.
It's true. There's other artists that haven't hit that level of success that are like triple your age that I think are like probably pissed about it. And I think there's a lot of people that are like, I think it's unfair.
There was a reporter a few months ago, one of my really close friends who you met at that opening. Um, he was like recording her without, she didn't know she was being recorded. And he was a reporter for like, I can't remember, one of the art sites. And he was asking her, he said something like, I have the recording. He said something like, I want to believe she's a nice person, but like, I'm sure you can understand why she's not. Like, he was trying to like bait her a little bit to like, like talk shit or something and be like, yeah, she's like kind of sucks.
About you?
About me. And like, it was so infuriating to listen to because like, just because of maybe who I'm,
Are involved with?
yeah, or like, I don't know, just the fact that like someone could think I'm a horrible person because
Who you're dating?
of who I'm dating, or like,
I mean, I just think it's like the age old. I don't know. I really feel it's sexist.
mm,
And I just don't think the same attention would be put on it if it was a man.
yeah. No, it's definitely like I'm always shocked when I realize that like people are paying attention to me because I'm like, I'm just fucking like,
Is it scary? Like, have press outlets tried to ask you about who you're dating?
oh, all the time.
Really? They'll like
I've actually
even
never talked about it with
shoot
anyone
an
but you.
email to you, like at
Yeah.
the gallery?
Yeah.
No.
Of course.
I just didn't know people were that bold.
I just don't think it's that interesting.
You don't think it's that interesting, but can you see where people are coming from of why they're interested in it?
Totally, I would be fascinated. Just like it's, I don't know. I've started listening to this Girls Next Door podcast. Have you heard of it?
Mhm.
And I used to watch the show when I was a kid, but I'm like, who are these women who like have orgies and then go to Disneyland? You know, like what is going on? I want to be in their brain.
And so you feel like people are interested in you because they're like, what is going on behind the scenes? And you guys, you're notoriously private too.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah.
I mean, you are. You don't exactly post photos like, "Hey, out to dinner tonight."
I just posted like a bunch of photos of me and my friends on Instagram, and I was like shaking. Like I posted and didn't think about it, and then I was like, oh my God, what if someone thinks I'm stupid?
I think for me, what pisses me off and why I stand up for you is because I don't, the correlation between the two and people kind of writing off your success for that is what pisses me off.
Mhm.
Whereas I think two things can exist.
No, totally. And I think like obviously like who you surround yourself with and like who's on your team is totally has like a huge effect on like success. Like of course it if it affects my career, like no doubt. But also
It's also,
I like had a career before.
you had a career before, and again, it's going out on it. I just don't think they would risk their reputation. And this is like the person you're dating, but also just the gallery. To like, let's say I was dating your boyfriend. No, I'm serious.
Mm.
Let's say I was dating him, and I was like, I want to be a painter, or I'm an artist,
Yeah.
and my artists look like little children's drawings because that's what they look like.
Yeah.
I would not be getting a solo show. You know what I mean?
Who knows?
Anna. No, I'm serious.
No.
You know,
I know.
so
Anyway,
it's like
yeah.
they're not. I don't think he would ever risk his career because it's too important for him to put up someone that he didn't believe the work was good. That's just my opinion. Again, yes, I'm not in that world. People could think I'm an idiot, whatever. I genuinely believe that. And I do feel like the slack you received is because you were a young woman, and it's an easy way to write you off.
Thank you.
How do you let it kind of fall off your back, though? Like, how do you not take it so personal? Maintain your sanity.
Okay, so maybe a year ago, I'm like a very private, quiet person. I mean, unless you're like my friend, and then I'll tell you everything. But I had a really hard time with like just people being interested in my life at first. And I remember I was at the Met with a friend, and I had just taken mushrooms, and my phone started blowing up. This was like I hadn't signed with my gallery, or maybe I had just signed with my gallery. I think I just signed with my gallery, but like I was a very low key person, and it was all these messages from people being like, "Congratulations," or like, "You doing okay? Like, you need anything, sweetie?" And I didn't know what was going on, and I found out that somebody had like made this like birth announcement. It was like a pregnancy announcement or something about me and put it on the internet, and he had like a following. And I just like I had already heard the rumor, and was hoping it would go away, and there was like a lot of stuff that I hadn't already told my family or hadn't told my family. And some outlet wrote an article about me being pregnant, and it like hit the Apple alerts. What's it called when you get like a news alert?
Mm-hmm.
And like my whole family got it. And I was just like, I was so embarrassed and like so hurt and fucking angry. And all this was happening as like the mushrooms were kicking in. And like now when I say it, it doesn't seem like a big deal. But for me, I like didn't have like it, I just wasn't used to it the way I would be now. And I left them at I was like, I'm not feeling that well. I have to go. And so I left my friend there, and I just like went and sat in Central Park. And I remember thinking like I just had this moment where I thought this weird little mean guy on the internet, like maybe he made me feel really shitty 20 minutes ago. But like I can get up and go home and leave him here in the park. And like I was like, I don't have to take this home with me. And I think I like that's kind of how there's this saying in the art world with it's if you get a bad review, it's probably not just in the art world, but like if you get a bad review, let it ruin your morning, but not your afternoon. And so
Mm-hmm.
I think I just like take that with me, and like life moves forward, and I don't have to hold on to this.
Yeah, and you get thicker skin as we get older too. But
Totally.
I think that's what's hard is like I think the success came so fast and so blaring, and like the interest in your dating life and all the shit. Um like I think that would be a lot for anyone.
Yeah. I mean, it was a lot because I just didn't know how to like handle attention. Like I had always been someone who fell under the radar and like was like really sneaky and like
Right. Do you see a
yeah,
therapist?
I don't. I have off and on. I really fucking need
Okay,
to.
I'll set you up with someone.
I actually just started like a couple weeks ago and was like, no, I can't do it. Um I really should.
Do you ever worry about reaching the success really young? That you'll be able to maintain it? Like, I know that's just like shit in our world.
I know just from being like I mean, I know things like ebb and flow, and like it'll go up and down, and there'll be dry periods, and like I'm really fine with that, I think. I mean, it might be different if like I haven't had a show in like 20 years, and like like I don't know how I'll handle it, but I can totally acknowledge that like I don't know, life's unpredictable and like shaky, and
But I also think you do it because you love it,
totally.
not just because you want recognition.
Yeah, I mean, I like got into it because I loved it, not because I ever expected someone to like give me money in exchange for a painting.
Yeah. I mean, I just love telling people, I'm like, they met because he bought her. And I love telling you, I'm like, they met because he bought her fucking work. Because he thinks you're a damn good artist. Like, the proof is in the pudding.
Oh, thank you.
It's true. And I also don't think someone would put their reputation on the line um, if it wasn't worth it.
Yeah. Yeah. Who knows?
Do you ever feel imposter syndrome?
Oh, all the time.
How do you
Like,
deal
all
with
the
that?
time.
How do you deal with that?
Well, you know what? I don't think it's like a feeling, like, same thing I was saying. Like, it's not like a feeling that I walk around with, but there'll be moments where I'm in a room and I'm like, ugh, I shouldn't be here. Like, everyone knows I shouldn't be here. I'm a fucking joke. Like, but, you just gotta put it down and, like, live life.
Well, I don't think you're a joke, and I know a lot of people who don't think you're a joke. And actually, another little annoying, nasty man wrote
Mhm.
some mean thing about you a couple months ago. The one that I commented on, and I was like, he's like probably mad that like someone like Anna rejected him, so that's why he wrote this. Because I'm like, it just didn't hit the same way. Also coming from like a straight dude, the way that he wanted it to. But I loved, like, a lot of people were in the comments sticking up for you, and they're like, the art world is such a elitist establishment. I don't know what you call it.
Yeah.
And it's really hard to break into. And I feel like when there is any upset or things don't seem to make sense to people who are in that world, then of course they're gonna like jump on you like a bunch of piranhas.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's this mentality. It's obviously like an unregulated world, and it can be really cutthroat. And I think sometimes, I mean, this is not, I've had just such a great experience with so many people who've been so welcoming and encouraging and like just awesome. But also some people, I think in any walk of life, like there's maybe a mentality that there's not enough for everyone, and like you have to be like, if somebody new comes along, you have to like take them out. Like, it's probably like a really primal instinct.
It's competitive.
It's competitive, and I get it.
I mean, I feel the same way with podcasting.
Yeah,
It's about like people's egos.
there's definitely like a lot of big fat egos.
Yeah, how do you take your ego out of it, especially when like you're presenting your work?
I'm just like always shocked whenever someone like is complimentary. Like, I think that's such a great question, but I'm not sure to answer it.
Do you feel confident with your abilities?
Sometimes, yes, and then sometimes I doubt everything. I mean, I feel confident in the sense that, like, I know even if I make a shit painting, like, it's fine. It doesn't really matter. The stakes are pretty low. And even if, like, my career dies suddenly really soon, like, I'll still be fine. I can still make paintings, like, in my bedroom. Like, and I can just, like, have another job.
And
So.
have millions of dollars in the bank. Just saying. It's true. That's what your friends are for.
Yeah.
We're here to like lift you up when you feel down. Would you say you lean more like depressive or anxious, or you don't struggle with that stuff?
I go through periods during the pandemic. I was really depressed, and that just like sort of looked like being really sad and like not wanting to hang out with people. But my dog had just died, my like childhood dog, and he was fucking amazing. And it just felt like the end of an era. And also I felt like the world was ending and we are in this like, I still feel this, but to this like the end of this huge moment in time. And I'm like, why aren't you guys freaking out? But I get anxious. I mean, I think I like suppress everything, which is why I should be in therapy. But I think generally I'm a pretty neutral person. But I would probably lean towards depression.
Mood.
Just like sad, like Eeyore. I'm like Eeyore all the time.
Oh. And do you want kids, Anna?
I don't want kids.
Do you
I
think
feel
that would
bad.
ever change?
Well, as soon as I said that, I was like, fuck, what if I like have a kid and they listen to this podcast one day and they were like, you didn't want me?
No, because it's not, I think if you do decide to have a kid and then you want that kid came into your life, but
Yeah.
like, I don't think that's specific to the kid.
Yeah. I'm not like actively seeking children. Do
You're
you
not.
want kids?
I think so.
Yeah.
I went through a period where I thought I was too fucking crazy to have kids, and I was like,
You would be such a good mom.
it's selfish to like put this on a kid.
Yeah.
But then now I feel like I'm in a good place. But you know me, I have no sex life or dating life, so I would have to find a man first. Do you ever feel like the scrutiny is too much for you?
I did. But now, like, it just doesn't get to me at all.
It's fucked up how you like kind of just get used to it.
No, I'm just used to. Also, I feel like enough of my life happens like off my phone, away from like the news, that like I'm fine. Like it always feels like shit when you get like a shitty review or something, but like I'm like fine. Just like it's not like an all consume yeah, it's not all consuming.
Do you even read stuff anymore about you?
Oh, totally.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I mean, I wouldn't like actively search for it, but like stuff comes around and I like fucking read it.
That's fair. I'm the same way. I'm
Yeah.
like looking myself up all the time.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I've also just been doxxed before. So
That's so crazy.
Really was a fun moment.
Wait, that happened to me last spring, like in the midst of like all this shit, and it was horrible.
And then you moved.
And then I moved because I lived in like a first floor, like tiny little apartment, and like you could totally look into my windows.
It's really fucking scary. That's what's I think the scary part. It's like, okay, yeah, there's a lot of pros to like having a successful or like semi-public life. You know, like it's not normal to be like in your 20s and be a millionaire on your own. Literally. I'm just going to keep throwing that on you. But then it's like the lack of privacy and
Yeah.
and the obsession with what you're up to and who you're hanging out with.
I always think about this with like a TikTok star or something, like, or a YouTuber, like who maybe has an insane amount of views and like people are really into their business, and they don't have like the system that like some like established Hollywood actor would have to create boundaries and privacy, you know, like they wouldn't maybe have like if it was just somebody
a bodyguard.
Yeah, like if they're just making videos in their parents' basement and a lot of people are like really interested in them, like, you know, it's tricky.
Yeah, it's a scary thing to navigate. And then I feel like when I do talk about navigating that, people get pissed because they're like, well, you have nothing to complain about.
Okay, well, people get mad about
I know, like every other word.
Yeah.
Do you have any advice for young artists with no connections?
Oh yeah, totally.
Like how do you navigate how do you navigate the art world?
Well, I would say for young artists, don't let anyone make you feel like you're stupid or you don't know what's going on or you're small just because you're young. Like even if you're young, you have power. And
a tight vagina.
And if you have a tight vagina, if you can give good head, you're sad. I don't know, just like
okay, how do you get gallery representation? Like talk me through like your first gallery representation. How did you get it?
Okay,
because I don't think you gave them head.
I worked for an artist. Actually, this is probably like I remember when I was at art school and people would like ask the teacher, how do you get gallery representation? Like it was always like, we don't know, like you just fucking do. But I had a really great teacher at RISD, as a painting professor, and when I moved back to New York after China, he reached out and said that he had a friend who was looking for a studio assistant and wanted to know if I wanted to apply, and so I did. And she worked with a gallery that I ended up working with. So I worked with her for a summer as her assistant, and then got to know her gallerist. She introduced me to her gallerist. And I thought it was a really great program. And we just like started a conversation about doing a show together. And yeah, they ended up representing me. And so we did one show together and worked together for like a couple of years, or a year, maybe a couple of years. And then I ended up moving to a different gallery, and then a different gallery. So I don't know.
So would you say maybe putting yourself out there,
Putting yourself out there.
like going to shows, meeting people?
I never did that.
Okay.
But like that's like what everyone always says that's the thing to do. But yeah, meeting people definitely. It's like all
What
about,
about social media?
social media for sure. I mean, I think I don't know. I think you like there's like a balance. Like if you're too much of an Instagram artist, then like the art world will not accept you. Or like the New York, like I don't know.
Yeah, why is the art world so bitchy?
It's so bitchy.
But why do you think it is? Just like there's so much money, or
I think there's a lot of unregulated money. There's a lot of ego. I don't really know. I mean, I think like life is just bitchy. Like everyone's.
well, it's like the specific upper echelons of society too. Like think about it. It's like who's able to drop like $1 million on something you hang on the wall, or upwards of that.
Totally. And I think there are a lot of people who have a lot of money invested in like the scarcity of the product. And so maybe like if there are like, I don't know, if you're adding new people and like new voices to this community, then maybe people see it as, I don't know, but maybe people see it as like you're devaluing, like you're adding more content, and like the value is in scarcity. And maybe, I don't know, maybe.
Do you ever feel devalued, or like just a commodity?
I mean, definitely like during auction seasons, I feel like a racehorse when like people are publishing like my stats. I'm like, fuck, I'm just like making paintings in my apartment. Like, can you just not like.
Like as an artist, how do you separate your self-worth from the stats, from the numbers?
It's tough. Honestly, it's tough. But I think I just do. I'm like always so grateful that people want to buy my work too. So like even when it annoys me if they're like putting this like grade on me, or like evaluating me by like with a number, like at the same time I'm so fucking lucky that like I'm even at the table.
Mm-hmm. Do you feel like your career has benefited from being a young, hot, blonde chick? Like, do you ever think about that?
I think just generally being attractive like opens doors, obviously.
And that's just the world we live in. It's true. Like,
but I also like I don't think I'm like that hot that like people would look at me and be like, oh, she just gets by on her looks, like it's like.
Yeah, the work speaks for itself.
No, I mean like statistically taller people are paid more, like it's kind of a fact. I'm a shorty, but like my paintings would be worth so much more if I was tall.
I mean, I think about that all the time.
Really?
Yeah, I'm like, I literally probably have a 6-figure following because I post my asshole. Not my asshole, but I post my ass. And like, especially when I was younger, like
you posted your asshole.
No, I have never posted my asshole. I've never even taken a photo of my asshole.
Really?
You take photos of your asshole?
I mean, not like
no, because I know someone who got their asshole leaked on the internet. Like,
shut up.
Actually, multiple people, like fully, like.
No, how does that happen?
Like iCloud hacking, but they had.
They
had taken sexy photos of their asshole.
Is that sexy?
I don't think so. I don't think so. I would never take that, just because also I'm a paranoid person and I am at.
Was her face in it?
Yes. These are multiple.
Shut up.
I know. No, multiple people I know. So like I wouldn't that actually I would kill myself.
No, I would be like deep into Tijuana, like with you would never see me again.
I'm just saying, so do I think if I didn't post my ass, not my asshole for clarification, I would have this many followers? No, but I kind of feel like similar to how Rhode describes her career, it's allowed me to then play the game and gain those followers and then pivot into a direction that like I am proud of.
Totally. You can't like start off posting your poems. Like you have to, you have to post the ass and then you can post the poetry.
Exactly. So I
Yeah.
want to see more asshole from you. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
That's something everyone can look forward to.
Okay, lastly, kind of what is your mental health look like right now? How are you doing?
How am I doing? I'm doing good. Once in a while, I had like I went into a deep rut in like December. I like told you a lot about it, but I was just like tired every day and like I was like what's the point? Like I don't know what I'm doing. And I kind of just like lost I don't know. I've been working on just like doing whatever the fuck I want to do to like that makes me happy. Like I told you like just like playing stupid online games. I think I was so focused like it was a come down from having a big show and also like from like anxiety from maybe having eyes on me and I think I just felt really just like lost and trapped. And I think I'm coming out of it. Feeling pretty good.
You
But
seem
like
to be in a good headspace right now.
yeah.
Or like back to your lively self a bit.
Yeah.
Anna doesn't realize how successful she is. I don't know. It's like hard for you to absorb that. And I don't know if it's
Maybe.
because you're around so many people who are like older and successful, you know?
Yeah.
Like every day who you're hanging out with.
I think also like I'm like inclined to believe the negative things, like
People say.
even as much as I want to be like I don't fucking care what people think of me, like it creeps in maybe.
Yeah, but I'm like, so you're also hanging out with people who like live on the Upper East Side and are able to collect a certain caliber of art. It's like maybe you just need to like pop on downtown, like it's all
Yeah, it's
relative.
perspective. Yeah. Yeah.
So I'm always here for you to slap you in the face and put that perspective again that you are doing amazing, and I'm really excited to see the progression of your career and just like your own being because you're a really special person. I love you so much.
Thank you. I love you so much.
And thank you for doing this.